The Patchwitch Fairy.
As I walked through the forest, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. The trees that once towered above me were now dead and lifeless, and the ground beneath my feet was littered with the remnants of our wasteful consumerism. The piles of clothing waste were almost too much to bear, but as I looked upon them, a new idea formed in my mind. What if we could take these discarded scraps of fabric and turn them into something beautiful? It was a long shot, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to try. And so, I began to sort through the piles of waste, searching for anything salvageable. As I worked, I could feel the magic building within me. It was a strange sensation, as though the very earth beneath my feet was alive with energy. And then, as I began to piece together the scraps of fabric, I felt a surge of power unlike anything I had ever experienced. The waste that once surrounded me began to lift up into the air, disassembling and reforming into something new and beautiful. As I worked, I became more and more aware of the interconnectedness of all things. The fabric scraps that once seemed so meaningless were now taking on new life and meaning. I was using the magic within me to transform the waste into something valuable, something that could be cherished and appreciated. As the days passed, my magic grew stronger, and I found myself traveling to other wastelands, seeking out new materials to transform. With each new piece of clothing I created, I could feel the magic spreading, like a ripple in a pond, touching the lives of others and transforming the world around us. And yet, even as my power grew, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. How had we allowed ourselves to get to this point, where our waste was so vast and all-consuming? It was a question that haunted me, even as I continued to work my magic. But there was hope too. As I worked, I could see the world around me slowly beginning to heal. The wastelands were transforming into lush, green forests, and the air was growing cleaner and clearer. And with each new piece of clothing I created, I knew that we were moving towards a brighter future, one where we valued the things we had and took care of the earth that sustained us. I may be known as the Patchwitch Fairy, but in truth, my power comes not from magic alone, but from a deep and abiding love for the world and all the living things that call it home. And though the road ahead may be long and difficult, I know that if we all work together, we can create a brighter, more sustainable future for ourselves and for generations to come.
The cycle of fast fashion continues despite the staggering statistics. The insatiable hunger for the latest styles and pressure to keep up with the ever-changing industry have left our environment polluted. Clothing consumption in Europe ranks as the fourth largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, predicted to emit 2.7 billion tons of CO2e by 2030. The damage is done at every stage of the process, with 70% of emissions occurring during production and processing, and 20% during use. This vicious cycle seems almost impossible to break, but we must try. It is up to each of us to take responsibility for our actions and support sustainable and ethical alternatives to fast fashion. By making a change, we can create a more beautiful and sustainable world. The statistics may be daunting, but they are not insurmountable. Together, we can take one step at a time towards a better future.